It's great to be here, Pastor. I thank you for the invite. I thank everybody for inviting me. You know what? I'm wound up like a can of worms, about to get a hook in them to go fishing. I love it when God speaks to me in the bottom of the ninth with the bases loaded. I thank God that he can change your message, whether you're on your way to the pulpit or you're taking a whole week to study. It doesn't much matter. When you're living for the Lord, the Bible says he'll tell you what to say. He'll give you the words in the bottom of the ninth. You know what? I was sitting there thinking, and I turned around and I seen somebody today in a World War II memorial hat. He's an honorably discharged veteran. And you know what I began to think? And you know what I want you to do with me real quick? I want you to stand up with me, and I want you to take your right hand. Listen to me clearly. I want you to take your right hand, and I want you to stretch it up just as high as you can stretch it. I want you to get it just as high as you can get it. You know why? Because we're going to take the standard that God has put in our lives, and we're going to wave it high. We're going to wave it real high. We're going to let this whole world know. It might be a dark and lonely place, and ISIS might think they're going to overrun us, and they might tell us what we're going to do and when we're going to do it and how they're going to do it. But I tell you right now, if we can take that standard that God has put in all of our lives, that standard of love, peace, joy, if we can take that standard and hold it up high, I want you to look up into heaven, and I want you to tell the Lord, Lord, I'm waving the standard, Lord, I'm running the standard, Lord. I'm not going to let the standard ever fall. Listen to me closely. A lot of us my age can remember going to school, and they taught us of World War II, the Great War. They say it was the can-do generation. Nothing they threw at those people was going to stop them. They say there was a spirit of liberty. There was a spirit of patriotism. There was a spirit of freedom in this country like we have never seen before. You know what, though? My mind began to think as I saw that elderly gentleman in that hat, and I smiled at him and I shook his hand and I told him, thank you for your service. But listen to me closely. My mind went to one battle, one of the hardest fought battles that we had in that war. It was the Battle of Iwo Jima. Listen to me closely now. For over 30 days they fought that battle. Over 30 days they fought that battle. If you read the history books, it teaches you that only 300 of 22,000 Japanese soldiers survived. And the only reason they survived is they crawled deep up into these holes, and they hid from the American forces. If you read your history correctly, we know that over 6,800 Marines died on that battlefield in less time than you can imagine. We know that over 700 ships, the largest armada of battleships to ever be formed against one place, was formed on that day. On February the 19th is when they encircled that island. It's just a little bitty island if you look it up. If you study it, you'll see it's nothing but a rock stuck off in the middle of the South Pacific Ocean. It didn't mean nothing to nobody. Let me tell you something. The Army said it wasn't worth fighting for. The Navy said, you know what? The water's not deep enough. We can't use it. The Air Force said the airfields aren't long enough. We can't land on it. But the Marines said, show us, and we'll go take it for you. Listen to me closely. I want you to understand that 6,800 Marines died in that battle. They tell us the water turned to blood. There were so many people killed before they even got to the shore because they didn't read the tides right. So the vehicles they had, they got stuck in. And as they got stuck, the Japanese opened up fire on them. But let me tell you something. Those Marines never gave up. They never surrendered. They kept going forward. It didn't matter. Let me explain something to you very clearly. For over 15 days, they did nothing but bomb that island and bomb that island and bomb that island and bomb that island. Oh, but let me tell you something. When they went to go ashore, they found out that enemy had been dug in just a little deeper than they thought. They found out that while they were dumping all those tonnages of bombs, that enemy had dug way back up in there, and they were just sitting there waiting for those Marines to come on shore. But you know what? I'm going to fast forward it a little bit. The battle wasn't lost because the enemy dug itself into a hole. The battle wasn't lost because we couldn't see the enemy. The battle wasn't lost because those Marines did not know where the enemy was. The battle battle was won. The battle was won. The battle was won. And on March the 25th, I believe, in 1945, 5 little Marines, 4 Marines and 1 U.S. Navy corpsman, they climbed to the top 543 feet in the air, and they took the American flag. They took the standard that they lived for, that they served for, that they could have died for. They took that flag and they jammed it in the ground with bullets flying, bombs going off, and everybody telling them they was crazy. They took that American flag, they took that standard, and they shoved it in the ground, and they said, we're Americans. Listen to me, church. It's time we stop backing up. It's time we stop running. It's time we stop grabbing hold of everything that we think is right, or what we think is good, or what we think is perfect. We need to take that standard that Jesus put in our hearts, and we need to jam it in the ground, and we need to look the devil square in the face and say, do what you want, say what you want, be what you want, call me what you want. It don't matter. This banner over me is love. Jesus called me to do this. He saved me. He anointed me. He gave me a gift, and I'm going to share it. Listen to me, those 4 Marines and that 1 Navy guy, they climbed to the top of that mountain. Your battle isn't in vain. Your battle isn't over. I don't care what the doctor said. I don't care what the TV said. I don't care what your best friend said. I don't care what anybody you ever knew in your whole entire life said about you. The battle ain't over. Keep fighting. Keep standing. And one day you're going to get to the top, and you're going to stand there, and you're going to jam that standard right into the ground, and the wind's going to come along and it's going to straighten it out, and other people are going to watch, and they're going to say, I want to do that. I want to be that. I want to be that. There was a little photographer somewhere on that mountain, and he just happened to turn around as the time that flag was going up, and he snapped that picture. There's no more famous picture in this world than that one of those Marines on Mount Suribachi in Iwo Jima. There's no greater story of battle perseverance ever been told in the annals of men. Let me explain something to you clearly. We're in a battle. We're running for our lives, and the battle that we fight is far greater than Iwo Jima and Mount Suribachi. The battle that we fight is far greater than the Chronicles of King Arthur and winning England. The battle that we fight is far greater than Vietnam, Korea, World War I, and any war you can think of. The battle that we fight is greater today than it's ever been. Evangelist, what battle are you talking about? I'm talking about the battle for our very existence as Christians. I'm talking about the battle of our very existence as saying we're saved, of being able to wake up in the morning and pray, to grab somebody's hand and call forth those things that be not as though they were. That's the battle we're in, and we got to be just like those 4 Marines, only for the Lord. You know what? They took the time to study the plans. They had a route picked out. They just didn't get to the top of that mountain and tape a flag to a pole and shove it up. No, those 4 Marines and that 1 Navy corpsman, they planned it all along. Listen to me. Today we seem to think the world is in the worstest state that it is, and it is, make no mistake, this world is darker and evil, church, than it's ever been. Pastor, I believe that this world has gotten so dark you can't light it up with an ever-ready flashlight at times. Oh, but make no mistake, there's still a few people. There's still a few people. It might only be 4. It might only be 5. It might only be 100. They got the answer. They got the standard done in their lives, and they're climbing that mountain. They're getting up to the top of that mountain. They're shoving devils to their left. They're shoving Satan to their right. They're shoving doubt and disbelief and no hope and despair all over the place, and they're keeping writing on. Somewhere right now, just like tonight, there's a little old lady, and she's crying out to God. Somewhere tonight, there's somebody in need of a doctor, and they're crying out to God. Somewhere tonight, there's somebody in need of a miracle, and they're crying out to God. So guess what? It may be dark out there. It may look like there's no hope out there. It may look like there's nowhere to turn. Oh, but somebody's praying. Somebody's calling forth. Somebody's shouting. Somebody's dancing. Somebody's speaking in tongues. And it don't matter to me what they say. I'm going to take that standard and I'm going to put it in the ground, and I'm going to walk on with Jesus. I'm going to stand at the top of my Mount Sarabachi, and I'm going to say, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And if you don't like it, don't worry about it. God's got my back. To me, those Marines and that Navy men, they didn't care how many people had died and perished before them. They cared. They had to step over them. But let me tell you something. It didn't slow them down. They had already set a plan. I can see them now sitting in those ships, maybe 200, 300, 400, 500 yards off the shore. And they were sitting there thinking, man, you see that mountain over there? If I can just get to the top of it. Look at all our brothers over there dying. If we can just get to the top of it and plant that flag. Look at me clearly and listen to me tonight, church. Sisters and brothers, stop worrying about where you're at and what you're doing. Start worrying about the fact that you're going to have to go through things to get to where God wants you to be. Start worrying about the fact the battle's not easy. Start worrying about the fact it's going to be hard. But don't worry about stopping, because God said he'd give you strength when you needed it. God said he'd give you courage when you needed it. Can't you see those little Marines sitting on that ship? I can see them clearly. I can see them sitting there saying, man, we got to make a difference. We got to do something. We got to help them when they call our number and we get on that boat. We got to do something different. Ain't it time for a group of believers to get together and just be different? Ain't it time for a group of believers to just know exactly who they are and exactly what they're going to do? Ain't it time we stop worrying about what everybody's got to say and just do that which God has called us to do? No, nowadays the church don't do that no more. They see somebody come up and say, you know what, this is right and that's right. Turn the lights down, bump the music up. And you know what we all do? We join in on that bandwagon. Look at me. There was a time I thought maybe this was right and that was right. But I don't think that way no more. Why? Because my mind is straight. My mind is on Jesus. I don't owe nobody on this earth but my Lord and personal Savior. And ain't nobody else going to tell me what's right or wrong other than the King James Version that I hold so dearly in my life. It's my roadmap to the top of the mountain. I don't know what your mountain is tonight. I don't care what your mountain is tonight, because I got the answer to your mountain. It's 5 letters. It's JESUS. That's my standard. Let me put it in the ground. Let me run it up high. Let me let the whole world see what it is. You see, I got my plan. I got my roadmap. I can see the highest point. I know what it's going to take to get there. I know who's going to fall in front of me. It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep right on, 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 keep right on going. I'm not looking back. I'm not going to turn my head to my left and say, man, look over there. That person stopped. I'm not going to turn my head to the right and say, man, they just did this and that and that, and it seems to work. I'm going to keep my head straight. Can't you see those 4 Marines? Bullets were flying all around them. The Bible teaches us clearly that Satan is shooting his arrows at us every day, every minute, every second. Stop worrying about it, because my Jesus is standing in front of me, and it ain't gonna let nothing happen to me. When I take my banner, when I take my flag, when I take my convictions, when I take that standard and I jam it into the ground and I stand up 6'1", shoulder squared, chin out, and my chest poked walked out like $1 million. And I say, devil, if you want some, come get some. But I ain't going back down that mountain. I made it to the top. I'm standing on the top, and I'm not going back. I'm tired of watching people go backwards. I'm tired of watching people turn around and run. You know what? I was a pastor's son for a lot of years, and I've watched a lot of people run. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. I can tell you right now, I've seen people on the brink of a miracle, and they get mad. And they throw their hands up and say, no, you were on top of the mountain, and you chose to come down, and you chose not to be at the top no more. Stop choosing those things around us. Listen to me. These are the messages I have a hard time calming down on, trust me, because I feel it so real in my spirit. I feel it so real in the anointing. I feel it so real, so real, so real. Listen to me, and there ain't no notes in front of me. There ain't nothing in front of me. You can see that tonight. This is straight off from what God told me to give you. Here's my question to you. Have you raised the standard high? If you've got to the top of the mountain, if you've stood at the pinnacle and you've planted that flag, then you've raised the standard. But if you ain't quite made it there yet, take that flag, put it up over your head, and run straight to the top with it. When the doctor walks into the operating room and said it's inoperable, we can't help you, take that flag and plant it and say, I don't care what you say, doctor. I got Jesus, and Jesus said everything's going to be all right. Listen to me clearly. Listen to me clearly. Church, listen to me. I need for the church all over the place, everywhere I go, every country I get to speak in, and I'm truly blessed, I can tell you that. As you stand up, look at the people standing up. If you're at home, when this message gets downloaded, you better stand up and put your hand up. If you can't put your hand up, turn your head and look up. Stop sitting there. Stop whining. Stop crying. Those 4 Marines and 1 Navy man, they weren't whining. They weren't crying. They were getting the job done. I bet they got to the top of that mountain and they looked around and they seen all that bad carnage all over the place. But they stood there and they said, we're Americans. Now get you some of that. Ain't it time we stand at the top of Mount Suribachi? Let me explain to you what that means in the spiritual terms. Mount Suribachi to you might be your wife's driving you crazy, your husband's driving you nuts, your son won't listen to you, your mom could be sick, your dad could be dying, you could be losing your home, can't find no work, can't get no food to feed yourself. But it don't matter. If you'll take that flag and stand it up, what are you doing? Evangelist, what are you saying? I'm saying when you look at that mountain and you say, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And whatever you take from me, God's going to give it back 10 times the fold. If you look at that mountain and say that, there's nothing Jesus can't do. Step 1 to planting the standards is stop. We as a church, we need to stop being conformed. Listen to me clearly. We need to stop doing everything that everybody else is doing. And we need to start doing the thing that Jesus told us to do over 2,000 years ago. It's worked for this many years. It's going to work for this many years more if God feels fit to leave us here for another 2,015 years. I don't care what Obama says. I don't care what Donald Trump wants to do or Jeb Bush. And I could really care less what ISIS thinks they're going to do. The Bible teaches me plainly, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Listen to me. Don't conform. Don't conform. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of walking in the churches, and I'm tired of being in prayer meetings, and I'm tired of watching it on the internet, and I'm tired of seeing it on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and everywhere else that Rock Solid is. We're not being Christians. We're conforming to everything that they say is good for us. When plain and simple, my Bible tells me in Jeremiah the 6th chapter, the 16th verse, search out the old path, and when you find it, walk therein. saying, what's the old path? Well, I don't know. Let me pray every day. What's the old path? Call forth those things. What's the old path? Walk a certain way, talk a certain way, be a certain way, and never, ever, 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 ever change it. Why? Because somebody's watching you. Listen to me, Romans 12:2. If you want to turn with it, but I'll quote it to you. And it says, be not conformed to this world. What do you mean, evangelist? When they tell you it's all right for a man to marry a man, you know it ain't all right. Keep reading in that chapter. Go back to Romans 1 and read. Go back to Sodom and Gomorrah and read. Go back all the way to where the flood happened and read. You know it ain't all right. Stop conforming to it. Yes, I want to save homosexuals. Yes, I want to call the lesbians out and get them cleaned up, straightened up, sanctified, and Holy Ghost filled and water baptized. But I don't want to do it if Jesus ain't in it. Be not conformed to this world. Listen to the next part. But be transformed. Be transformed. Those 4 Marines and 1 Navy corpsman were sitting on that boat. They didn't see 6,800 dead people. They didn't see 22,000 dead Japanese. They were transformed. All they could see was standing on the top, 543 feet above sea level, on Mount Suribachi, the highest point on that island. All they could see, they were transformed to that place in time. Let me tell you something. When you get Jesus deep down in your soul and you've planted that flag and you've planted that, you won't see what the devil wants you to see. You won't hear what the devil wants you to hear. Why? Because your mind has been transformed. How do you transfer your mind, evangelist? Let me tell you how you do it. A, you pray. B, you go to church. C, you pay your tithes. D, you confess your love for Jesus every single solitary day. God will let somebody walk into your life that needs somebody. God will let somebody see something that in your life. I felt so led a few weeks ago to go see somebody, and I let everybody talk me out of it. But in the end, I finally got aggravated, and I said, I know what God's told me to do. Let me go see him. That person's shouting tonight. That person's dancing tonight. That person's sowing seeds tonight. Let me tell you something. Stop doing what they're doing and do what God told you to do. Make no mistake in that. Somebody said to me the other day, they said, I want to sing so bad, but somebody said, I sound just like this. When I said, you know what, tell them to shut up. God gave you a style. God gave you a gift, and you need to use that gift. Sing, sister. That's what I told her. Sing, sister. You know what? I don't care who you are. You can't carry a tune in a bucket with a handle on it or play a radio with the knob that says turn this way to play. It don't matter. If God's called you to do it, stand up and do it. Get to the top of that mountain. Plant that flag and sing your heart out. Play your heart out. Preach your heart out. Do that which God has called you to do by the renewing of your mind daily in Jesus. To me. Listen to the next part of that verse, sister. It says that ye may prove. Listen to that. That ye may prove. Those were 4 Marines and 1 Navy corpsman sitting on that ship. They just watched 6,800 people die. They had so much to prove. That ye may prove what is good and acceptable. I want you to hear the last part of this. The perfect will of God. There's 2 wills. There's the permissive, what he's going to let you do, and there's the perfect will, what you're going to do. I choose to be in the perfect will. Absolutely, it's hard. Absolutely, it's mind-blowing. Absolutely, it's a burden every single day of my life. But I choose to do that which God has called me to do. I don't care who gets mad at me, just so you know. I don't care who thinks I'm crazy, just so you know. I don't care that I preach like I'm an addict. My words might sound sporadic. I may be going 110, but I'm gonna win. Why? Because my Bible plainly says in Revelations, the last page that only the Spirit of God can read through you, says, I win. Be not conformed. Stop reading the second book of nothing in the third chapter of the second book of nothing that says you can do what you want, when you want, and how you want. You can't do none of those things I see going on today. I'm not even going to touch it. All I'm simply saying is don't be conformed. Don't get caught up, entangled into the ways of this world and bring them in the church. Jesus said, how can you get the tares out unless you tear up the good stuff? I'll tell you how. Don't let them in. Don't let that mess through the back door. Don't have to run it out. Start standing up on the King James Version of the Bible or whatever Bible you read. They're all the same. It's just worded different. Make no mistake. Don't let it in. Closely. When you transform your mind daily by the renewing of it, do you understand that? This ain't once saved, always saved. This ain't come to confessional and give me 47 Hail Marys full of grace. Save us from this wretched place. See, I know that one too. That ain't what this is. This is, Lord, forgive me of all my sins and every way I've misfailed you. And God, thank you so much. I'm at the top of the mountain and I got my standard planted. When they get mad at you, plant your standard. My Bible teaches me to pray for those that spitefully use you. Start praying for your enemy. Stop condemning your enemy. Listen to me. Stop being like everybody else and renew your mind daily. That's step one. Let me explain something to you now. I'm going to give you one of the greatest verses in the Bible. All of us should be able to quote this one. Psalms, the 23rd chapter, the second verse. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. Stop accepting a dry Mojave desert in your life. Get beside the green pasture. Get beside the waters that are so still. I know the battle's hard. I know it's hard to even imagine sometimes going one step further. I know the weights of this world, but I got to say to my boys, as long as there's breath in my body, I will get up and I will put my boots on and I will tie them up tight. I will stand 6'1", bulletproof. I will run through a troop and leap over a wall. The S on my chest is not for Superman, it's for I'm saved. Don't tell me what I can do. My God don't want me in the desert. My God wants me in the green pastures. My God wants me led right beside the still waters, where there's peace, where there's joy, where there's life, where there's happiness. You know what? Get on top the mountain and you'll have all that. Keep staying down there with the thorns and the bushes and the twigs, and you ain't gonna have none of that. Those Marines were sitting in that ship, and I guarantee you one of them said, man, if we can just get our flag to the top of that mountain, that enemy's going to know they've lost. Let me explain something to you. When you get that standard of Jesus deep down in your soul, see, when I say take the standard and plant it down in that rock, plant it down in your heart. Get it there and you won't back down from it. Get it there and you won't run from it. Get it there and it don't matter what your crazy husband's doing. Get it there and it won't matter what your crazy aunt or your crazy mother, your crazy brother. It won't matter. It won't matter that they tell you your daddy was this and that and the other thing. You'll stand up and say, I'm not my uncle, my brother, my sister, my mother. I'm me, and I'm planted, and I'm standing, because at the top of that mountain, you can see the green pastures. Listen to me. He maketh me to lie down. He maketh me to be in the perfect will. I'm not even going to open that door. But But understand this, God don't want you in the desert. He wants you on the mountain. He wants you where the grass is green. He wants you right where he called you to be. Yes, it'll be hard, as I said before. Yes, it'll be aggravating, as I said before. Yes, the people will come at you, just so you know that nobody else you ever thought would have come at you. But make no mistake, when you plant your heels and you stand up as tall as you are, you poke that chest out and you walk straight up that mountain and you plant that flag for the world to see. You'll look around you and your enemies won't be there no more. Those that wouldn't stop by and say hi won't be there no more. Those that said you wasn't going to sing ain't going to be there no more. Those that said you were not going to preach will not be there no more. If you didn't get part number 2, write it down. Get in the green pastures. And the only way to get to the victory, to the liberation that there's 4 Marines and 1 Navy man found was to get to the top of that mountain. Part number 2, 3. I'm sorry, I'm almost done. Listen to me close. I want you to get this one right here. If you don't get anything else I've said, I want you to get this one. Get it out. Get that thing that's causing you to fall back down that mountain out your life. Get that thing that's causing you not to go where God called you to go. Get it out of your life. Get that thing that's causing all that doubt and misbelief out of your life. What do you mean, evangelist? What are you saying? Listen to me. Joshua was told, go, take Jericho, march around it 7 days and not utter a word till I tell you to open your mouth. But when you do, take nothing of that place. Oh, but there was one. When the wall fell down, Aikman walked in. He walked in, listen to me. He walked in and he seen some things he wanted. I can't remember exactly what they are, and it doesn't matter to me. Get it out. Don't touch it. Get away from it. Don't be conformed. Run away from it. I'm tired of people saying they love the Lord and they show up at the bar on Saturday. I'm tired of people saying that the Lord, and you get in their truck with them and it's, I'm a rap star. I'm tired of people saying they love the Lord, but yet they dress the way they want to dress, walk the way they want to walk, talk the way they want to walk. Listen to me clearly. Renew your mind. Renew your mind. Get to green pastures and don't go back and don't touch it. God told Joshua, touch not the unclean thing. And that Israelite did that. Where's it at? Where's it at, God? You ought to be on your knees every single day, church, praying, where's it at? Where's it at? Lord, show me that one thing that's keeping me down here at the bottom where I can't get to the top, where I can't get to the green pastures. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? There it is. It's right there, that little thing in the short skirt batting her eyes and calling me over. There it is. It's that pack of Marlboro Lights for $1.99 because they've been marked down because the devil wants me to get a good deal. There it is. There's that bottle of pills that I need to stay away from that I really don't need. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Now you found it. Now call it out. Sister, call it out. Brother, call it out. I would tonight that preachers would run down to this aisle and say, Lord, here it is. It's right here. I was up late the other night on the internet when I shouldn't have been, and something popped up and I clicked over to it, and the next thing I know, I'm mired in sin. Picture those 4 Marines and 1 Navy man sitting on that boat. They could look and see every single obstacle. But if we wake up every single day of our lives before our feet hit the floor and we say, God, give us the strength to call out those things that we don't need in our lives, guess what you'll be like? You'll be like David. You'll be like Paul. You'll be like Jesus most of all. You'll have that standard in your life, and everybody around you will see it. And you know what you'll find? Your enemies will want to be like you. Listen to me clearly. I'm quite sure there was a couple thousand Marines sitting around saying, wonder why we didn't think of that. I'm smarter than that fella. I'm bigger than that fella. I'm brighter than those fellas. I should have thought of that. The reason why they didn't think of that is because they weren't chose to do that. Some of you sitting within the hearing of my voice, sitting in this very building, or wherever you're at listening to me, make no mistake, God called you, and He did not make a mistake. It's us that allow those little things to inhabit our mind. And every day that you get up and you renew your mind, that which you got to be. Make no mistake with me. I'm not backing up again. Church, listen to me. I'm not going to turn and run. I don't care who gets mad at me. I don't care who wants to be a part of what God is doing in my life. It doesn't much matter to me. I'm going to take the standard. I'm going to take the banner, and I'm going to plant it deep in my heart where it's already planted, and I'm going to stand up to this world. I don't care what ISIS is doing. I could care less what's going on over there. I got enough problems right here. And you know what? Make no mistake, I pray for the peace of Jerusalem every single day because the Bible told me to. And that's the standard that I want in this life. Stand up with me. You know what? It's time we come to the altar and we say, God, no matter what, no matter what, no matter what, no matter how many people have fallen, no matter how many people have not went on the way, I'm going to stand for you. And I've got this banner. I've got this standard, and I'm going to raise it up high. I want my sister to know. I want my brother to know. I want my aunt and my mom and my dad and my cousins all to know this standard is Jesus. It's Jesus. ISIS ain't going to change the world. I don't care who you elect as president. It ain't going to change nothing. Only us standing together, united as they were in Acts the 2nd chapter, are we going to change the world through Jesus. Through Jesus. God bless you is my prayer.